Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Good morning, everyone, from the East Coast of the United States. Today is Thursday, October the 9th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are going to begin with gold this morning in an unusual shift of where I normally talk about these metals, normally at the end. So we had a couple of things happen in the overnight, and my suspicion is the traders knew about this yesterday, started getting leaked somewhere around this time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe even as early as 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. Now notice, I said, hey, the last time we were up here and we were around a big fat number, it could move 50 points to the north, 50 points to the south. We looked at the last time it was at 300. It had 70 points to the north. This time, it had almost 80 points to the north, right? Actually, it did have 80 points to the north. And then an absolute fade down into much lower gamma lines. My thought is, I'm not quite sure what stopped that in the fray. But here's my suspicion. The big news, if you've been living under a rock, maybe you haven't heard, Hamas struck a deal with Israel to return hostages. It's some sort of gigantic peace deal. I'm going to say this. This is going to cause some turbulence in gold. Why? They're going to see it as risk off, and they're going to use this as time to trim. They moved the call wall up by $100. The call wall was at $4,000, now is at $4,100. The put wall, however, is still here at $4,050. So what does that tell us? Dips are still going to get bought. Dips can be big. And remember, from the 4,000 level, we still have that big flux of another $50 to the south if trend holds northward, right? If trend is upward, it's going to break higher to the north and give us still a higher low to the south. So what does this give us? Well, we're sitting in a wide volume pocket. We've got a massive 6 p.m. open candle. This is when all the news started filtering in, right? The top edge, 4,064. The bottom edge, 4,032, with some pretty savage dips below, but buyers still picking it up. What's the backdrop? Well, as a student of history, peace deals have been going on since the dawn of time. The fact of the matter is, there is a very big conflict that exists way higher than, hey, I want to live at my house or whatever. Okay, it's got roots that dig deep into the land. So that being said, at some juncture, this peace deal is going to unwind because it just will, right? I'm not trying to sound like a negative Nelly. I'm just saying past is a good prescript for future, right? So there we have it. In the meantime, don't think that this is going to be some easy fade to the south. It's not, simply because there are going to be a lot of other people, just like me, that have a lot of gray hair, that remember the past, and we know how these peace deals go. They are very fragile, but it gives gold a nice opportunity to work off all of that massive upside. Okay, so what are we staring down? We have a potential flag pattern. My thought is that it should still run to the 4,000 level. It could pull back a little bit more, but dips are still going to be buys. This is not, hey, we're off to the moon, things are going great. So let's just think this through. The double top, an ideal space to short. We are making lower highs in the broad picture. We are sitting inside of the 30-minute candlestick open. It is not the candlestick with the highest volume. That candlestick is the one that is sitting between the VWAP area of 4,046, and the put wall is right there, so that makes for a nice number. And the top of the range pretty close to the high of the 30-minute opening candlestick formation. So we'll look at it that way. Notice they're breaching higher. We have, what do we have in this leg? Low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Chances are still there that we move to the north, because there are going to be some people thinking, ooh, this is a big short, and other people going, I better buy the dip. I've been waiting on the sidelines for gold for too long. I better buy the dip. So that's what's going on. Big spikes, going to be opportunities to liquidate if you are long. Deep spikes down, going to allow you time to accumulate if you are looking for longs, right? Low volume node, 4,020. And of course, you know, look at the value area high-low for the 30-minute chart. The low end, 3,981. The high end, 4,077. Those are wide numbers. Pay attention to the GEX levels. They're going to matter, and realize that in the grand scheme of things, this is a buy the dip, but if you want to short, the opportunities are available at the tops of the ranges. You just want to be careful, and if it blows out the upside, get out, because the unwind of all the brand new shorts in the overnight could send price action to the moon. Right now, the cumulative delta is 330, and yesterday at its peak was 8,600. So there you have it. All right, let's get to the ES. So, whoa, let's go the daily first, see what's going on. Put wall still at 6,400. Call wall now at 6,825. Leaking it up just a little bit. Zero DTEs are above the monthly call walls, weekly call walls. And so that's going to cause some additional buying. I saw someone say, gosh, we can't move out of this area. So here's the storyboard. When we hit a range, and that range shows price action unwilling to move out of a zone, right? I mean, it's got so much sideways pressure. You know that what they're doing is accumulating inventory. So you look at the range, you look at the trend, and then you go, all right, I see what's going on. Note 6,400 put wall for the big number. For the zero DTEs, the put wall is at 67.75. Now, we know this number, right? We know this number very well. Look at how many days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days bouncing around this number. The call resistance on the weekly, still 6,800. The call wall for intraday motion, 6,825. What are the traders going to do? They're going to try and get it inside of that call wall. If they can't, the call wall will rotate up and we'll see higher prices. Now, the question is, does this peace deal give the market fuel to move higher? Well, what does price tell us? Price tells us that's a possibility. Well, why? Because we're still making higher lows and higher highs, right? We know 6,825 is the zero DT call wall. We'll keep an eye on that as the top end of the range. The statistical motion of above and below, that's 85% of the time that's going to happen. We made higher lows in the pre-market, but we're also making lower highs. So what are we going to do? There's going to be a break somewhere, a trend break. If we use the handy-dandy trend line, we can see we're sitting right at that spot where we could break to the north, and things go well, or we could pull back and give ourselves another opportunity to go long. What is that area to go long? The anchor close on the VWAP from yesterday is 6,790. The VWAP for the framework of time that we're looking at is 6,788. Notice we spent an hour and a half dancing around that level before we broke out. So that's a clean line of support. We've got upward trend. Momentum has shifted up. It's any man's game here. What do I like to do in a formation like this? I'm going to be looking for the low edge to take along. But as I look at the order flow, I mean, this is so thin. Comparatively speaking, it is a very thin pre-market. We expect some sort of news coming out of the pile somewhere. Let's see what's happening today. Thursday, we have jobless claims. Are we going to get that number? And then we've got Jerome Powell, who begins to speak in 45 minutes. Okay, big deal. That's going to be a big deal. So what do we have? Staring down, sideways formations. My thought is let Jerome Powell speak and then position yourself. If you're thinking to yourself, man, I would love to have an order in that would just be my sweet spot, I would say it's the bottom of this last congestion zone at 6,765. Gosh, Emery, that's a big fade. Yep. I think it would be a nice bounce zone. And if we can't get up over 67.75, we can take the continuation. But the movement up in here's, I think it's a little bit crazy. If you want to think about taking a short, you can. Just remember, this trend line needs to keep holding lower highs, right? And then you take profit. If it breaks down, watch for the first failure to enter the accumulation space and then take your short. That number is at 6,795. Let's take a look at the NQ. Let's see what's going on with the call walls here. Oh my word. These guys are upside down, right? And I just said this about Bitcoin, and here it is happening in the Qs. Put support now above call support. So only one of these guys is going to win. See, when the call wall is above and the put wall is below, all the people in the middle can win because they've sold on both sides. If the put wall is above the call wall, only one group can win. The put wall, if it's above, the puts win and the calls lose. If it's below, the calls win and the puts lose. And that's what we're staring down right now. Opening range formation, both sides still making the lower highs. Could we have a space to take a breath? I think the market's going to surprise us in one way or another. Why is it going to surprise me? Because I have no idea which way it's going to go, frankly. I don't. So anything that happens is going to be a relative surprise to me. Are they trying to hold the call wall? Yes. So they're trying to get under the put wall and hold the breakout of the call wall. And that gives them this tiny range right here where either of them will only lose a little bit, right? They'll only lose a little bit in here. So to me, this is a classic expansion zone. I don't know, maybe you buy a condor because you expect an expansion of some kind into the open. I have no clue. I truly have no clue. So I'm going to wait for the market to tell me. A lot of people go, how can you even say you have no clue when you're sitting here being, listen, I am just waiting for the market to tell me what to do, right? I'm not going to predict anything. I'm going to say, hey, if it fades, old resistance, new support, 25,252. If it breaches, the next gamma line to the north is 25,450, right? There is a gamma line here at 25,350, and that could also give us a little bit of resistance, right? Me, I'm in general scalp mode until this market gives me a solid direction. My gut says that we have a fade before another run to the north. And I think that that's true for both metals and the broad market. That's just my thought. Okay? But that's what we need to stare down. That's what we're looking at. Let's take a look. We went to gold. Let's take a look at silver. What is it? See? No. Silver futures. I can never remember what the month is. Is it Z? Yeah, it's definitely not F. Okay, here we go. Silver oh, wow, look at that compression. Look at that. Okay, so here we are looking at silver. Call wall way above us at 50. Put wall just below us, 0 DTE, and the call resistance lines are the same for the week and the month. For the put wall 0 DTE, we've got 48. So we have $2 of motion in between. But where are the traders actually sitting? They are sitting at this gamma wall at $49.06. That's resistance. And the support zone is the anchored VWAP from a couple of days ago, right? And that number is $47.85. What's the trade? Dips or buys, spikes or sells. This one is moving into pretty solid consolidation. Look at this distribution. It's packed right inside value area high, value area low. What do you think about right here? Well, what's trend? Trend is up. What's momentum? Momentum is up. What does that mean? Dips or buys? Dips or buys as it's moving to the top of the range. So look for the wicks and position yourself, realizing that price action could hold or it could fade. Anne-Marie, does that mean I put a limit order out here? Yeah, you can. Why? You're with trend and with momentum. You could put a limit order out here, watch your risk. If you can handle the fade down into the VWAP, which is sitting at $48.41, then you're perfectly fine. If you can't, don't take the trade. Just prep yourself and say, all right, I'm going to look old resistance, new support. Wicks are tremendously important when you're trading metals. Huge. Okay, next one. This is my last one. Let's look at copper. It's Jan, so let's do Z. Copper still in a breakout formation. Look, see, value area, super tight, and then the break. So for grins, let's say to ourselves, all right, I see this is in a range. I need to take a short at the wicks. Am I going to hold on? So here's what happens. What is trend telling you is likely here? Trend is up. Momentum is up. If you decide you're going to short here, it better be a scalp trade. Better be a scalp trade, and anticipate that what's going to happen is the likelihood of a bounce above your resistance because of trend and momentum, and then back down into the range, right? Context is going to tell you what's going to happen here, okay? That being said, it comes back, you get a scalp trade. The breakaway formation is $5.13. What have they been doing all morning since this breakaway? That looks like gathering inventory, right? Now, are they far away from the VWAP? Why, yes, they are. But they are gathering inventory. So what's the trade? Buy the dip and take profit at the top until either that breaks and you get to walk it up, or the support breaks and you say, all right, I got to get out, right? I got to get out because it's going to pull back into higher support, or it could converge in the mean. Value area high to value area low is a vacuum of attraction because everybody has agreed what price is going to say. Again, call walls way above, gamma lines, $5.14. All right, lastly, SPY. SPY, it gapped down, and now it's filling the gap pre-market. That gap event is $673. So 674. Call wall 675. What's this formation? It's sideways. This is all inventory accumulation. So what do you know? Dips into 672 are buy zones. You want to take some profit as it gets to its new high. Why go in that direction? Because trend and momentum are up. Trade with the flow of price. Don't trade against the flow of price, unless you're scalping, and then, have at it. But trade with the flow, and you'll see that your dips are going to give you buys, and your spikes are going to give you areas to liquidate into a profit space. Deep dips, $670. It really depends on what Powell starts talking about over the next little bit. Okay? He comes on in just about 30 minutes. I am absolutely flat on all of my counts. I'm just going to wait this one out, because if he comes in hawkish at all, the market's going to take a breath and move into the value area formations. It's just going to take some sort of catalyst. They want to trade anything right now, right? They really do. They want to trade anything. Okay, lower levels, as I mentioned, 670. Higher support, 672. Gamma wall, 675. Larger gamma line above us, 677. Dips are buys, but we are in a broad consolidation space. So if we lose 672, sellers will be a little bit more aggressive to take a position. All right, take care. I'll see you on the streams.